giant.
Right out here for the kayak adventure series tournament in Paris, Texas. Just got this big old pre-spawn female, 21 incher. Let's let her go.
Shit. May not get big fish, but 20 and a half spawned out female. All
Yo,
right.
yo. What is up? What is up? How's it going, Jake?
Just trying to get back in the swing of things.
Nice, man. I had another tab open right now to YouTube, and I was getting this echo, and I'm like, "Where's the echo coming from?" And it was our stream playing in the other tab. So, problem crisis averted. How do I sound? I sound good.
Good. We got
Okay.
a lot of content to share today, so
A ton of content, man. Paris Reelfest, what a fest it was! A catch fest, especially if you're on a couple of those lakes.
I think I caught more fish in Paris than I did on Lake Fork.
Yeah, it was rough. Let me situate my there we go. Looks good. Good enough right here. Whatever. Dude, if I don't sound good, let me know, because I've got two Wi-Fis, and sometimes I have to connect to the other one to get a better signal. And so anyway, if it start cracking up, you guys let me know. I'm down here in the basement, the doldrums. Family demotes me down here to have my little whatever man cave. So but I'm excited, man. This can be a good show. 20 people already on. You guys keep coming on. We're gonna show a ton of really cool highlights. And actually, I was trying to export a whole highlight video, and I re-exported it now, and for some reason it exported it, but not the very last like minute or two. It's weird. So I've got the clip. I can show it off. If you want to show a little bit of it off now at the beginning, we can, and then we could just pause it and play it all at the end in full once it's fully exported. But it's going to be a good show.
Yeah,
Adam
we're going to
Coleman.
talk about all the lakes too, guys. So that lake, we'll talk about it because literally everybody was on that lake.
I mean, it's like I would say half the field was on that lake, and then the other half was all spread out throughout the other lakes. So
yeah,
it's like everyone was on, but it felt like everyone was on it because it was a smaller lake, and when you have that many people, you know what I mean? It's it's gonna be pretty packed. So anyway, let's get into it. Then we'll bring Adam on. We'll show some clips. Do you want me to pull up and try to present that? Start a little bit of that, just so you guys can see. This is why you're filming yourself, and this is why you submit it to KAS. You are in this day and age, in this world. You can't just be a fisherman anymore and just fish, right? You kind of also have to do other things. So all we're asking is you start just by learning how to just film from one angle from behind you with a GoPro. It's not that hard. You are the angler, but you're also the media. And it's not just the media. You're, in a sense, you are validating your own catches and your character. If anyone ever doubts or questions anything that happened or that you did, you've got it right there. So it's actually really good.
Has that ever helped you on a personal level?
Yeah, that seems like I can see your grin there. Of course. of course, it got me out of a potential DQ and for Bassmasters. So I was able to prove that I never got out of my kayak. I went around the root balls. Here's how I did it. Nobody else with a little kayak would ever even have seen that or noticed it, which is why I've always said that was a good protest for Bassmaster. Yeah. It really was. I mean, it's my third event I won in a row. So you almost have to raise your eyebrow when someone wins like that in an individual sport. But then again, it wasn't the most highly attended that back in that year, and all the hammers of the sport. Not every there's a lot of good anglers. Don't get me wrong, and I won by convincing margin on many of those tournaments. But still, it wasn't what it is today. But anyway, yeah, this is the results here. You got them pulled up. So Paris Reelfest, Adam Coleman, yeah, took the title. If you guys didn't see that live stream, 102.75 earned a Crosskix Century Belt. And Jordan Westman also, yeah, 101.25 for Jordan as well. Jordan was sneaky coming up. You know, I don't think he really uploaded fish all day long. And we know since many people were on that lake, there was signal. So I think Jordan is the kind of guy who's just focused. He's just focused, or maybe, well, actually, that's not true. I didn't have signal on that lake. So he probably had the cell provider plan that I did, which was Verizon. We didn't have any signal on that lake. If you had Verizon, you had some, Jake. Remember we were driving around? So,
and you know, one of the interesting things that I'm noticing that I think we should talk about a little bit, because we obviously know where Adam was fishing. We knew where Jordan was. We knew where Russ was because we saw them. But there's a vast difference between their fish, and that's something that I think we should talk about a little bit.
Yeah.
When we get Adam in here. So same with Tim.
Yeah.
So
let me see if I can share this video file. Then we'll get Adam in here. So this is what your highlight reels. This is why I was encouraging you guys to film. We're going to make highlight reels like this.
Sweet like wine, got honey on her tongue. One hand on a bottle, she got one hand on a gun. She squeezed that trigger, you as good as done. I should be running from you, darling, now to kingdom come. Cause my mother told me as a child, boy, don't play around with fire, cause you might just end up getting burned. And I know the wicked never rest, so I always try my best. But there's some lessons hard for me to learn, girls. Good boys, stay away from them bad girls. Them bad girls, yeah. The good ones just can't get me high, so I'll be falling all my life for one of these bad girls. You bad girl, but you do me so good. Friends call me a dummy, cause she taking on.
Pause that and get it off there. It actually said the new one is done, so I can play that one. But I'm just going to scrub and show you guys a little bit. You'll watch the whole thing later, okay? We'll put it on YouTube. We'll scrub. We got some cool shots of many of you guys out there on the water doing your thing. You know, catching. Here's another guy releasing the fish here.
But you do me so good.
I think maybe. Yep, throwing one back there. There you go. And then this is where we'll get in with Adam here in a minute. This was kind of where he was. This spot here.
that's an interesting shot because it really shows definition of that smaller little.
Yeah, we're gonna talk to Adam all about this. And I'm not even gonna show this clip yet until he comes in there, but I will let you know this is kind of where we zoomed down in on where he was. This is why we were able to cover him so well. We'll put your names in there, make a little highlight clip, and then we'll see. Oh, I wonder if I have some fish catches here, some action. We'll show that when Adam's on the stream. Then we got Russ with one. I mean, you guys can go back. You can watch it. We just watched this one at the beginning. Larry Hill showed this one on the live stream on the recap there, at the awards, I should say, and at the beginning here. Lake Bodark, we show it off from the air. You guys can see that. Lake Fannin, boy, that was a pretty lake.
I'll go back to Lake Fannin because, like,
You want to see this lake?
I want to see that island.
There's an angler there in our tournament that was heading out on Bodark. The island.
Man, Bodark is just so vast. Yeah, there's This one was wild because there's actually like a little part of this lake that, like a little pond that goes with this lake. So there's,
Yeah.
This was probably the coolest area we saw on a personal level, at least for me.
What's the
It was very
prettiest?
remote back in there. Like,
And it really did look the fishiest.
I mean, from what Rob told me, Rob Jolly, and Don too, this lake's just, they caught so many fish. He said he's probably the best hit he's had in a long time.
Yeah. Great lake. On here. There's that little island in the middle. We're going to get into this and talk about how these small lakes and come into play in the strategy at these tournaments. Anyway, great shots here. We got you guys can see there's JT Hickman. Go back and watch. We do need to show this. We got to show this again. I edited this better for Marty Hughes here. Gonna make it full screen. This is Marty Hughes losing a big one, and we'll all get a chance to laugh at this real quick. I'll bring Adam in, but yeah, he loses a big one here. I mean, this looks like a 20, and he finished first spot out of the money. This, and his smallest fish was the 18. He had two that were around the 18-inch range. So
he also got the Crosskix bonus.
Yeah, true. Here we go. Here's his lost fish. This is a great shot we got of him on the drone, losing a fish. There he goes, hooked up. Hooked up. He went to the chatterbait seminar. Apparently got hooked up, but then, loses it. And we got a nice little
Marty
replay
told
here.
me he caught that fish.
Like he went back and recaught it, he thinks?
Yeah, he said it was this one right here, and we could
we'll
probably
end
do some forensic.
There's Pete right here with one. Pete got us a good clip. So thanks to you guys for sending us clips. We're still taking any clips, photos, or videos. So send them to us. We'll get them in this highlight reel before it goes on YouTube. We'll still add more into it, and we'll get those photos up on our recap gallery or an article as well from the event. So Pete got a good one here. You guys go back and watch it. So nice job, everybody. And of course, we stayed at Hidden Grove Resort. Was awesome. So we put them in there at the end. But yeah, that was it. Let's get this out of there. If I can figure out how to do it. There we go. Remove. All right. Let's get Adam in here.
I think we should lead off with a clip of Adam, and then we'll bring him in.
All right, lead off with a clip of Adam. Before we do that, thank you to Raccoon Creek Outfitters. As always, the presenting sponsor of our live stream, so we can't thank them enough. They did some crazy rigging the other day. I don't know if you saw some of their photos and videos, and I'm not going to spoil Dustin's, bust his sort of like announcement or whatever, but he's got a really cool rig that he did on his XTRs. Bonafide XTR. Bonafide's a sponsor of KAS, so shout out to Bonafide and the XTR. I'm telling you right now, it's a really cool rig. It's set up. It's partially Drew Gregory inspired, I will say. So that was kind of cool to see. But you guys are going to freak when you see what he's done to this thing. I mean, flip. So go check it out. Yeah, before you play that clip.
How big is it?
Cool. I knew Adam before he was famous. That's funny.
All right, so this is Adam Culling, Big Cull here. This was the Culver's Big Cull of the day.
Yep.
One day that'll be.
One day, yeah.
20
Yeah,
and
thanks a lot,
3/4.
Culver.
How long was your drive here? 17 hours. All the
So he
way
drove
from
17 hours
Nice.
to come fish this tournament. I thought
Yeah.
that was a good way to kind of lead off with
Yeah.
this introduction.
Dedication right there.
Definitely some dedication to come all the way down to Texas to fish this event. So.
Absolutely. There he is. What's up, Adam? Yeah.
Afternoon, guys. Thanks for
Hey,
having
man.
me.
Good to see you, and
You
glad
too.
you made it back safely. You and Lacey. I mean, man, that was a long trip. That was really cool story. For those that don't know, Adam, you got caught up in a mix-up. We don't have to get into all the details, but there was a group of you guys from Ohio who were supposed to be at the Bassmaster Championship. In hindsight, thank God, Adam didn't end up being able to do that. I mean, he might have pushed me out of the top 10, man. I was 10th place. Barely made it on stage there at the Classic, but on stage is all you want. But anyway, he's a local hammer. We all know him here, our local group, the Kayak Anglers of Northeast Ohio, which I sort of quasi affiliate with, even though I don't get to fish as many of those events as I wish I could, but they're a great group, and everyone knows how good Adam is, man. You've won AOI over there, tournaments. I mean, I don't know, your stats better than I do, so you can say it, but I've always known you were a hammer, just like Steve Baker and other guys in that club who go and fish national stuff. But yeah, you still made it, even though the mix-up made it where you and Brian Slayton and a bunch of other guys ended up being able to fish the Bassmaster Championship. You guys still made it, and I'm thankful you guys did, and obviously I know you are too. So tell us a little bit about that whole craziness of you're in the championship, then you're not, but then hey, let's just still go fish the KAS and why. I mean, it's 17 hours from us, so that's a big drive.
Yeah, it was that whole situation was a little crazy, and I won't go into too much detail. I've talked about it a couple of times with other folks, but basically, like you mentioned, qualified and then didn't qualify. Didn't find out till late that we didn't qualify. It was like the first week of February, so everybody's already got everything booked. We've all got our stays set. We've been studying maps. All of those things. So put a lot of time and effort into it. And at that point, I could have got my money back for the Airbnb, everything else, but it's a trip to Lake Fork. So I decided, you know what, we're going to do it anyway. Go down there, fish Fork for a couple days, have some fun, fish one of the best fisheries in the world, and then fish the Kayak Adventure Series afterwards. So I fished Fork for two days and then a third evening in a small backwater area. Tried to stay out of everybody's way because I didn't want to ruin anybody's chances at a championship. Got to catch a few really good fish, caught a couple bed fish, had a blast. It was good, just fun fishing and not getting too caught up in competition and just going back to your roots, right? Because that's why we all did it in the first place, or do this in the first place, is because it's fun. And getting that bite, setting the hook, reeling them in, that's what got us hooked on it in the first place. Whether it was with a bobber and worm or a robo worm when we were a kid, whatever. So and then the KAS event, you told me about that at our winter meetup with our Northeast Ohio guys. And I looked at Lacey, I said, what do you think? And she said, we can add a day. And we did it. So it worked out really well, given the circumstances. I was still able to come down and be competitive and enjoy some really awesome lakes in a really awesome part of Texas. That not only were the lakes cool, but the people were awesome up there. The folks that you had that we worked with in Paris were phenomenal. Their hospitality was unmatched. It was great.
Yeah, their foresight to realize what we're starting there. It wasn't even about this was tied on with the Bassmaster Classic. It was kind of a bonus event we put on this year because we did 6 last year, 7 this year, and this was kind of the one that was added because Jake and I were already in Texas for this championship, so figure let's try it. But their foresight to be able to see let's start showing people how great this area is for bass fishing with the new Lake Bodark and then eventually the new Lake Ralph Hall coming soon. It's pretty smart of them. They were just so optimistic and positive. And the folks at the Hidden Grove Resort and where a lot of us stay were just, I've never seen hospitality like that. I'm serious, man.
They
It was
brought us a pie.
Yeah, they brought us pies. They gave us some t-shirts, fishing t-shirts they made just for us that said Hidden Grove Resort. I mean, they were, on the firewood. They had a little cluster, as you saw in that drone footage, of cabins that were right there, 4 of them, right on a pond, 2 ponds. There's a pond on one side, pond on the other. I mean, it's a great place to stay. And I know North Texas Kayak Championships and Texas Bass Nation for the kayak series over there are going to go there next year for sure. And they're definitely going to fill those cabins and that campground up for sure. But anyway, you guys stayed at your original place. Down around, I guess, closer to Lake Fork, which is still only an hour from Paris. So it's
about an hour and a half.
Hour and a half, all the way down to the very bottom, part of it. Yeah, but in the north end, it's not that far. I was further around Emory, it was a lot closer. But you could be fishing Fork in an hour from Paris if you wanted to. So it's that's a great spot.
I was joking around before we all left. I was asking them if they had any good realtors down there because it really is. It's an awesome place to be. Like you said, an hour to Fork, probably 3 hours to Rayburn and Toledo Bend, Caddo. It's really, and all those good lakes up in Oklahoma you hear about.
Broken Bow, all that north of there.
Right. So it's just it's an awesome area. The only downside to it is the dust and the wind.
I did clean my car and it felt so satisfying to clean it.
Mine's not clean yet. I think I'm looking into getting it actually detailed because it got 9 days down there. It just got demolished.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, we got people coming in the chat. Marty Hughes saying what's up. He's going to be doing that recap article. Hank Vegian's got our sorry, he's going to do the top 10. Marty Hughes is going to do the top 10 recaps for baits. And then we have our recap article that Hank's already gotten written. I just got to go review it quickly and then try to get it up as soon as possible. I've been spending a lot of time with the kids and the family since I literally just got home yesterday afternoon. So, but we'll get it up, guys. We'll get it up. Don't worry, it's coming. And let's get back to the event though, Adam. So let's first start with this, and Jake, you chime in wherever, but I think it's cool that the story of Texas, that whole time we were there, Lake Fork in the Bassmaster Championship plus the Paris Reelfest, was the wind and the weather. And the format, if I learned anything from river bassing, it was just rivers. We had a lot of it, not a lot, but several times we had cancellations, flooding, unsafe conditions. And then when I restarted all this, I said, we can't do just rivers because people love to fish lakes and rivers, and the fish intermingle between both of them. There's no better or worse. There's not. There really isn't. No, lakes aren't better than rivers. It's more like what your style is, what you prefer. Or maybe what that fishery dictates is a little bit better on the river or the lake in certain fisheries. Lake Fork's much better in the lake than it is any of those creeks. If you go actually in the true creeks, much better. Right. Trust me, I wasted a lot of time trying to do that. So it's not, it's cool that we have it open to both, all the above. And then also for a river creek guy, the creeks are the smaller. And if a bunch of people show up at a creek, nobody's winning because you beat it up in practice and then you're going to try to split up those fish in the tournament. It's over. So strategy becomes big. It becomes big in your situation as well, because you guys a lot of people chose that smaller lake, I think a little bit because of the wind and the weather, but of course, mainly because it seemed like it was fishing really good and you guys found it. What was your strategy to fish as many of the lakes as we had in bounds? Or did you do some research beforehand that clues you in that that's one of the few you want to hit that you think there's probably some good fish in that one? How'd you find that lake and know it was going to be so good?
So I narrowed it down. I didn't even look at the Oklahoma lake with staying in Quitman. I knew that was going to be 2+ hours every morning to go check it out. So
another fishing license.
Yeah, right. That's I had already bought the Texas license. So I stayed there. So the day you guys got canceled for the national championship, obviously the wind was crazy. So that day I went and just drove around and I hit Coffee Mill, Bodark, Lake Bonham, and Davy Crockett. I tried to hit Fannin. Excuse me. I don't know how anybody got to Fannin because I don't know where the entrance was. And I went down the one road and it was blown out with ruts, and I didn't want to risk, tearing up the truck. So I don't know how y'all got there. Good for them if they did, or if I missed how to get in there. My GPS took me the wrong way. Anyway, it looked awesome. I really wanted to check it out. But I'm glad, hindsight, now looking at it, I'm glad I didn't because I might have spent too much time there.
I kind of wish that we would have recorded Drew and I going back in there because it was definitely we were definitely like, is this the right place?
The entire time. I even took a video because I was hitting the ruts and everything else. It was crazy. So I didn't fish. I didn't take my. What's that?
It was dry at least. So like the deep ruts and stuff. So it was easy to just hug one side, and it was like you just go down there and if it would have been raining and wet, trust me, that would have been a different story. I don't think we would have gone in there. Right. But yeah.
Especially not with a kayak strapped to the roof.
Yeah, we did have
we towed it around that old town all day.
Oh, that's right.
But anyway, so you ended up
checked them all out. I fished from shore at Bonham just to see, because there's a lot of reeds close to there. So I was flipping reeds to see if I could get a bite. Got a bite there, so it intrigued me. But then the others, Crockett honestly aligns a lot to our Ohio fisheries. Relatively shallow, deep grass lines. Not a whole lot of contour changes. So it aligned more to what I'm used to. And for me, if I can do that, I've not traveled a ton, but if I can make it like I know how to fish, that part of it's gonna leave my mind, and then I'm just gonna go fishing and try to figure out what they're doing. When I did finally get a chance to fish out there, I put a couple pieces of the puzzle together out deep. I have Active Target. on the kayak. So I was literally watching blimps on the screen go from deep to shallow. And I caught a couple smaller ones as they were moving through, and it just kind of clued me in. Water temperatures were 58, 59 when I did that. The wind wasn't too bad that day, but I knew it was going to blow right down the chute the next time I'd be there. And then I went back the next morning to kind of check the same thing, and the wind was blowing in perfect, and I ended up finding the spot that I won on because of that wind, because I couldn't really go anywhere else on the lake. So I checked a vast majority of the lake the first time I was there, ran up that southwest corner. That's a big grass flat with pad stems and everything else. It all looks really good, but that's, doing that compared to finding one spot where I know there's a ton of fish, it made more sense to stick with what I knew down on that north end by the ramp.
So here's one thing that's cool about the KAS and the format. Obviously, you can choose small lakes, big lakes, rivers, creeks, whatever. And we don't have to cancel events due to flooding or crazy weather, because you can always find somewhere in these smaller lakes to get out of the wind. Even on a bigger lake, you can find the right coves, because we can access from anywhere that's public. So you can usually find public access to get you to a safe area to fish. So it keeps the tournament happening, which is great. And keeps it happening in a situation where it keeps you guys safe and can still cover as much of these lakes and rivers as possible. That's cool. So I really am glad that it was able to work out. There was another thing I was about to say about that, but it'll hit me in just a second. But that was definitely cool to see different bodies of water play out and see how, some people pulled into the parking lot and saw that many people and left. I think Jody and Abby did that. They still had a good day, especially for, no practice. Those guys are always going to find fish somewhere and fish the biggest. I think they fished Bodart, but it was really cool to see how you here's what I was going to say, how you fished right there. First of all, it was right by. I mean, I'm not blowing anything up. And again, when we go back there, the KAS, we like to do a rotation. We don't really go back to these places, and we go to new places, and it's always different. So it encourages people to film and share it, because, it's not like you got some big Bassmaster tournament, or, you know what I mean? Obviously, there's no more like currently Hobie or KBF. So whatever other big tournaments, you're not as concerned about blowing something up, because, dude, we may not ever be back at these same places. And some of them, it's going to take 4 or 5 years before we ever even go back. And so maybe we ever go back there. Like maybe that spot got blown up a little bit, but everyone saw where you were. So it's kind of like, it just makes it freer and easier for us to share this video, and for you guys to share your videos and feel good about it. Not so worried about it, because that's a big concern for people that film. Like, I don't want to blow up my spot, and I get it. But anyway, this is you want to pull up the video, Jake, of him with the drone catch, because I got it.
Yeah, go ahead. We've got all kinds of video we can share.
It's right here. I will scrub to it, and let's watch it, because, like Jake said, it was interesting how this right here.
So I actually have some interesting insight about this. I have some interesting insight that I think I've figured out about this particular spot, which kind of explains why it was so good, which is something that we always want to know as anglers, because, there's a big difference between the fish that Adam was catching and the fish that Jordan and Russ were catching. So, yeah.
Do you guys see the play button at the bottom of this, or is that just me?
Everyone does.
Everyone does. Okay, I don't know if it goes away, but either way,
you can see you hit play.
You can see Adam at the bottom. I got it paused, and that drain that comes out of that pipe. Here's what we learned. Adam, tell me if you think this is what's happening. I think that little pond over there that you guys couldn't get to by kayak, obviously, it couldn't get through that pipe, because the pipe comes out under the water on your side, on the lake.
Right.
I think they go in there and they're spawning on that top right corner where you see it right here. I don't know if you guys can see my cursor, probably not, but the top right, you can see all that kind of harder bottom that's been fanned,
and you can see the
away,
beds.
and there's beds there.
Look at that.
They're going in there to spawn, and they're kind of feel protected and safe there, and then they're coming back out. So I think that's what was happening. You were getting fish that were moving in and out just from spawning activity heading in there. So I don't know what you think. Do you think that's kind of what was going on there, why those fish were there, or?
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, when I found those fish floating and moving towards shallow water, I think it was 3 days before the tournament, I knew I had to find somewhere where I could intercept both. because that water temperature had been around that 60-degree mark for a few days. We had had a full moon the week before. In my experience, and Texas may be a little bit different, but in my experience, they're going to want to move shallow quick once that water temp gets in that range. So I knew I needed to be somewhere where they could stage, where they could spawn, where they could eat, where everything could happen. And this spot had everything. That pipe came through. There was a ditch in front of it that was about 10 to 12 feet deep, depending on where you're at, but it didn't last very long. So they could sit in there, move up. On one part, there's rock. On another part, there's some wood. On the back side of it, the below here on the bottom of the screen, there's a grass flat with 3 different kinds of grass in it. So it literally had everything. And I didn't have to move. Literally, where you see me in this video, if you back it up 10 feet to the right a little bit, I'm on that other clump. That's the only time I moved in this spot, and it was just to get a different angle. To try and hit them in the face a little differently than I was.
Yeah, that's great. Here's a fish.
And that's
catcher
how we were
here.
able to get such good interview footage,
Cast to
'cause he
catch.
was literally at the.
There we go.
The crazy part is this fish did not help.
Yeah, this fish didn't help, and it was a good one. I mean, it looks like a good one. I mean,
it was 18 3/4 inches, and it was fat. It was probably 5 pounds.
Very
as
fat.
fat as it was.
I was like, man, that's a good one. But yeah, it didn't help. We did have you catching another clip here in a minute. Catching a 20 or landing at least at 20 3/4. Didn't get it cast to catch with the drone. But Jake and I were here in the morning and nothing was going on. We just flew the drone. Then we left to go cover other anglers in different lakes. And then we saw what you were doing. We went back because we knew if you're in that same spot, we're going to be able to cover it. So we actually went back, flew the drone, got this shot from cast to catch. And as you can see there, nice fat, like you're saying, like an 18, 3/4, just fat fish.
Yeah, I think he was. I honestly, so my thought on this is I think Adam was on 2 different types of fish. Like that one right there is clearly pre-spawn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like clearly pre-spawn. But like if you go to I'll have to let me share screen real quick and we'll throw the video back up. If you look at some of his
look how fat that one is on the board. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't even help, like you said.
Yeah, I'll never weigh a fish on my legs if I think it's truly going to help.
Yeah, right.
I've lost too many fish early in my kayak days to do that anymore.
This is the 20 and 3/4.
Yeah. Hang on. Woo! Holy cow, it's huge. Pull it up real quick. Nice.
How big is it?
I think you already showed that part. Yeah, do you want to pull up something, Jake?
Yeah, let me remove this real quick.
The other thing we'll mention is that spot. The other thing I thought was unique about it is it's overlooked because it's literally right at the ramp. You never had to drop your motor. I mean, really,
boat ramps they're stealthy, man. Fish always love boat ramps, but
so
it
was right by the boat ramp. Yeah, I mean, everyone else just wants to get away. That's what I want to do. I want to get away up in somewhere that no one else is as fast as possible. And you just sort of let everyone go, and you just sort of slid literally 20 yards away.
I didn't pedal. I didn't put the motor down, nothing. I let the wind blow me into the clump that I knew I needed to be on, and I put my power pole down and went to work.
You could have literally have fished out of a sun dolphin.
Yep.
You could have.
I don't know. I probably would have gone for a swim.
Yeah.
Because I break the weight requirement on it right away. But
yeah, but yes. It's the beauty of KAS. You really can access anywhere. You could use just 2 rods and a little tackle box and find a spot like that, and still potentially win. So yeah, those are great looking fish here.
My theory on that is I feel like what he was on was fish that were leaving the pond, because if you look at this fish, this is a post-spawn largemouth. Like she clearly is, done, because the water temp was what in that area?
63, 64.
Yeah, so I think you were catching those hungry post-spawn fish. They had probably been up in there and left. Some of those fatter ones might have still been pre-spawn, but if you compare like this fish, like look at this these are some of the main lake fish people were catching, like in deeper drop-offs. Look at that. That's clearly a pre-spawn One, Jordans are all the same way. This is our big bass right
You're
here.
trying to say Adam wouldn't have won if it was a weight tournament.
Yeah, if it was a
I
boat
mean,
tournament, I would have lost.
You know
for
what?
sure.
It's a kayak tournament, man. That's
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And length is a better predictor of their age.
Because I
Anyway.
guarantee you, like this fish right here was a much
Yeah.
bigger fish, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, for sure.
But like you can see, like even Tim is in a different area of the lake. These look even a little bit more on the thin side. So it's interesting. Well, that one right
Look
there.
at that. Man,
Damn.
yeah, you're catching both for sure, both kinds. But I think that up in that cove that's in that little, I think that
look at
water over
that.
there, yeah, it's a Larry Hill special. I think that little pocket, on the other side of the pipe was probably like even warmer by a couple more degrees. It was more protected. It was shallower, getting all that sun. I mean,
there was bait.
even if they're not spawning, they just want to go there to like get warm and feel good. Because just like we want to get in the sun when it's 65, 70 degrees. So
yeah, it was one of the cool things that happened during the day. I knew that it was a good area from practice, but then when I was fishing, there was a grebe. I'm a nature freak. I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to nature in general. But there was a grebe that kept diving within a boat length of me, and they eat little crustaceans and little minnows and stuff like that. So I knew I was an area that not only had fish in it but had food in it. And then a little later in the day, there was 2 otters that actually swam through that culvert, popped their head up, chattered at me, and then left again. So it was just, there was lots of life in this area, which is what allowed me to stay for the hour it took to get that first bite, and then just go to work afterwards.
Yeah,
and make some adjustments too, because what I was catching them on in practice, they wouldn't touch. I caught one fish on it, and it was one of those. He slapped at it, I missed it. He slapped at it again, set the hook, and I actually snagged it. Because he just wasn't getting the bait. So I put that down and switched to a chatterbait after that, and then the bigger swim bait I was throwing as well.
Yeah. Before we go any further, I do want to say, we're not going to take too much of your time, Adam, but if you want an even more detailed version of this, the guys at the Catch podcast they actually recorded with you last night. It'll be up. I don't know when that is, but the Catch podcast right there with Brad Hicks, Matt Souders, probably up next on Monday, I think, probably.
I think so.
So you guys check that one out. That's going to be a really good one. Those guys have a different take on all this stuff, and they're a lot of fun. So appreciate those guys. Always having the winners on every podcast, every event you're going to go on the Catch podcast every winter. And there's lots of other podcasts that have been helping us out, and having people on. So, but I appreciate those guys for sure. But being a nature nerd, like you're saying, is critical because it gives you all these little clues, like you're saying, to the health of the fishery, And if I go up in a creek and I'm scouting it for a river, like a true creek, I'm scouting it for a lake tournament. If it's like silted in and dead, I don't see hardly any bait fish or aquatic insects, crawfish, maybe a bird, like you're saying, even in the water looking for something, or frogs, amphibians, whatever. Anything can be a clue. Everything is a clue. So anyway, that's pretty cool that you're doing that. And look, man, like someone's saying here, Adam Howard, hey, been waiting for your skill to get you somewhere. Jeez, that's almost, but about time your skill finally got you somewhere. Definitely deserving the attention. Good job, man. Obviously messing with you. That's cool. You crushed it. You beat some of the top anglers in the country, and you fished some national events before, I believe, right? I mean, you fished some, like, or not really.
No, this is, so I fished one regional / national event for the Ike Foundation over on Nakamixon. I think that was in 2022. Did well there. I lost to Bailey Egbert. I got second place there, but that's really the only thing outside of KA and KA championships, stuff like that, that I've done in the kayak. I've done some BFLs and things like that in the boat world a long time ago. But I've been fishing tournaments since 2010. Got started with a buddy of mine. We won the first one we fished. Actually, the one that said he knew me before I was famous. He and I fished our first tournament together way back then. And it's just been a bug that has bit me time and time again. It'll never end. So, well,
it's about time to obviously to switch that up a little bit and change, because you definitely someone to be reckoned with on the national scene with the type of anglers we had in that tournament, and the talent. So, and obviously you're on the path for AOY. great AOY points for that event. Obviously, the winner always gets 100. So you're at 100, which I don't even know. I got to check with Josh Goforth. Shout out to Josh for doing our AOY stuff. Usually he gets it updated like right away. So he may or may not have had that updated. We can check on the website. But yeah, I mean, obviously you got great points. You're going to fish, which I wish I would have asked you this on stage. You're probably fishing, or maybe I did. I can't remember. But you're definitely fishing more event. So you're going to be right there in the hunt because you got your hometown event that isn't 17 hours away. I would say home state event. Possibly the Pennsylvania one's even closer, but is coming up, the Great Midwest of us. And then you got the broodstock and Franklin.
Yeah, I plan on being at South Boston in May. I plan on being, and then from there, Springfield, the Great Midwest of us, the Allegheny event, the Susky event.
Yeah,
I probably won't make that Minnesota event. I think one 15+ hour drive is enough for this year.
Dude, you're gonna miss out, man.
Yeah, I know. Believe me, if I could swing it, if it made any sense for me to get to do it again, I would 100%, because that sounds like it's going to be an amazing event.
Well, it's a river tournament. So here's the thing about the river tournament. I'm not trying to you're going to plenty of them. So, and you got, obviously you'll need 2 of the regular season 6 added onto your broodstock score, which is makes your final 3 for AOY. So it's very achievable. Someone listening right now hasn't even fished one yet. It's going to be in the hunt heading into broodstock. Definitely several people, because you got so many events still left. Right. But if there's any event that someone could fly to, just rent a kayak or get somebody from Ohio or from wherever you live that is driving to that Mississippi River event, that's the one. Because the river, you just don't need all these bells and whistles to catch fish. It's just a visual game. So somebody's going to rent. Someone will do. I'll say it now, Jake. Someone will do really good at that event that probably is going to fly. If they, I think some people have talked about it. So I think if someone does, they're going to, or just, I'll say someone that has a simple setup that's just like 2-3 rods, a tackle box, and a paddle. And they're going to float down the river and just hammer them. So if there's any way to pull it off at that event, that would be, if you didn't want to drive another 15, that'd probably be the way to do it. So now if you got any extra cash laying around to pull it off, I guess you could do it. So
yeah, we'll see. It takes a lot to get down there with work and everything else. So we'll see if we can make it happen. But all the other ones, I'm definitely making work.
I forgot you guys have jobs, real jobs, right?
Everyone
fishing these things. Yeah.
Yep.
My job's
not all as lucky as you, Drew. You've worked hard to get there, though.
It's real, but it's not real. Like, I don't just fish every day. I fish during these tournaments, and that's about it. But people think I do. I think I just go out and fish every day, and that's how I make a living. But nope, it's a bunch of business and other stuff that's not as fun. But at least it revolves around fishing. So
that's it.
It's kind of it is kind of definitely fun. It won't be ever as lucrative as other jobs, that's for sure. But I can't say it's not fun, even though it has its down points as well. Let's see what else we're gonna cover with Adam here. Did we show the other fish catch? I think we did. Yeah, we showed both of your fish catches. We showed the drone shot. Talk about, I was gonna say the next event you just mentioned, the South Boston Bassathon. Here's what I'm gonna do, Jake. We have a $7,500 GoPro guarantee at that event. If we get 125 anglers, it's gonna go to $7,500. I'm thinking we didn't hit the GoPro guarantee at either one of these events. We haven't had to shell out any extra cash or anything yet. I'm thinking we just say if we get 150, we'll make it a $10,000 GoPro guarantee. If we just get to 150, I haven't really tossed it around to anybody and just said it out loud now. So I'm saying let's just do it. I mean, let's go. That's the beauty of owning your own trail. You just get to do whatever you want, and no angler's going to complain because hey, you just want to give us more money, sure. So I think that'd be cool to put that carrot out there and see if we can get up to 150 and show people what a good time that area is and the KAS experience is, because that one is going, like Jake and I and Eric behind the scenes, Eric Kruger doing a great job helping out. We're getting it more and more dialed in every time. Like we correct things, we fix things in that presentation. We can pre-plan and do better. Look at all these drone shots we got.
The only thing we can't plan for is bad internet.
Bad internet, yeah. That was a challenge at this last one, but a hotspot saved us. So I think that would be cool. I'm sure you'd be in agreement. Let's give away 10,000. Let's get 150 people there, and
it's the whole reason I have a GoPro now. It's for that
you
chance.
Gotta remember to grab it.
There. Yeah, someone needs to clip this so GoPro sees this. So that's the reason why a lot of people have bought GoPros. they've told me that this is the reason. Even people like JT Hickman, he had some other brands, and he said, dude, I just went ahead and got another GoPro just so I can qualify for that GoPro guarantee bonus. So it's working. We just got to keep growing what we're doing and sharing the incredible video you guys are getting out there on the water of these amazing fish catches in a kayak. They're pulling you around, they're jumping, they're going nuts, just showing how fun and how just cool our sport is. And I think that'll just help it grow in general as well. So that the footage is for lots of reasons, and obviously growing and sharing the sport is one of them. And I don't think we have to worry about ever losing, like having not enough places to go, because with the way our format is, man, you can almost go to any city that just has a theater, or somewhere we can show these videos at awards, and it just has enough rivers, lakes, and creeks all combined to add up to enough water where you guys just aren't right on top of each other. And part of tournament fishing is potentially being right on top of each other if a lot of people find the same thing, which you guys did.
Yeah, you just got to be all right with it and find ways to fish around people. And I mean, being from Ohio, it makes it really easy to know how to fish on top of people, because we have a lot of people fishing a lot of very small bodies of water, and there's only a few that are really good and worth being on. So
yeah,
it's definitely a challenge.
I'll bring up a couple comments here real quick. Yeah, it is a challenge. The one here by Ronald Singletary says, my GoPro will definitely be running for South Boston. So Ronald, if we get to 150, could be a 10 grand piece of footage there. What kind of net does he use? Net jobs look smooth on footage. Your net job did look really smooth there. Was that what net was that? I think that was.
Sorry, I'm laughing a little bit. This is my buddy, and he and I go back and forth. We fish in the boat a lot, and he yells a bunch about my net jobs. So this is both a stab and a nice job. But I use the leverage landing net from what is that, Yak Attack, I believe. It makes it really easy one-handed.
And we were kind of leading you into that there. So Yak Attack is a sponsor of the KAS, and that leverage landing net has definitely been a popular one. You can flip it right out, scoop them up with one hand really easy. So thanks to Yak Attack for making some great products, and of course being a part of the KAS.
Yeah.
But let's see the
it's funny people are talking about nets, because one of the epiphanies I had while I was in Texas is I hate nets. It's not for me.
I'm not a huge fan of them most of the time, except for in the kayak. I boat flip everything on the boat, unless it's 5+ pounds. But if in the kayak too many things have gone wrong, I've flipped them in and had them bounce right out, or because you're at weird angles, the high stick side of things, I've broken rods. So I use the net quite a bit.
Nice. So speaking of not using the net, I got to show, this was my highlight of the weekend here. Lake Fork. All right, guys, she's on bed. Her tail's coming out of the water every once in a while.
This was awesome.
Yeah, it was a cool catch. I mean, I just got scored a 21 3/4, and I look up and this giant redfish tail's sitting there, and watch her wake it. I'm pulling it out of the bed to make another pitch. First pitch of the bed. Somehow she chases it. Look at this. Yes. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Holy crap. No freaking way. No way. She chased it all the way out and nailed it. No way.
I'm really curious if that fish spent its whole life in the
Lake
backwater.
Fork Butte right here. I don't know, man. I doubt it. I doubt it for Lake Fork. I think she's somewhere out in the middle, just on some tree, some dip. But anyway, that was my no net job, and that it's crazy to think, like you said, straight braid, single hook baits. That was that cross size power finesse jig by Z-Man, also a KAS sponsor. So thanks to them. But that was like, what, 5-6 seconds it was in the boat. I mean, 7 maybe for 8-pounder. It's just when you have straight braid, 30-pound SX1 Sunline is what I use, and you use a lot of single hook baits. I've just gotten to the point where the net it's so rarely used. It's just taking up space on the kayak. You know what I mean? And I've lost. I mean, I feel like I've lost, or maybe I've lost just as many with the net as I do without it. So it's just really a personal preference thing. And depending on your style, if you're throwing small drop shots and jerk baits and treble hook lures like crazy, crank baits. I mean, yeah, you got to go with the net. I mean, that's the way to do it for sure. But with my style, it's just I've kind of learned it's not as applicable. So anyway,
jerk baits will make you use a net. That's for sure. Trust me on this one.
Yeah, whopper ploppers are the only ones, and choppos that I have. That sometimes I'm a little concerned about, But anyway, other than that, no net for me. But anything else that we want to talk to Adam about while we got him, and then we'll end this episode with probably just showing that whole video, that highlight reel. You guys can watch it, all the drone footage, and then I'm trying to think anything we're missing, Adam, about it. I mean, well, here's one thing. The baits, you stayed there the whole day, but how do you, obviously you're not just sitting there throwing the exact same bait. How many different baits did you catch fish on? And was it just switching the baits and switching the little cast, just milking it? Or was it they just turned on when the wind picked up or something environmental affected them? What really was it?
It was, I siphoned through, I think it was 3 baits that really worked all day. But it was a lot of different casting angles, hitting different spots on it, catching a few with one and then moving to another and everything else. But it was a larger 6-inch swim bait that I was crawling on the bottom. And then I'd throw a chatterbait, and that was a little different than what I normally do. I normally throw just either a jackhammer or an eco, and that they just weren't eating it for me. So I switched to a stealth blade, even though that water's kind of dirty. I switched to a stealth blade and got a little sneaky with the color on it, and started getting bit on that a lot more. Cause I needed that vibration because of the color of the water, but I didn't want it to be too intrusive. So I did that. And then I was throwing an eco rig, in a kind of a June bug type color, red bug, I think it's called. And I was just working through those. I throw the shaky head or the Nico up on the rocks in that deeper section of it, pull it off, let it fall. I'd slow roll the chatterbait and the swim bait through the grass and rocks and wait for it to thump it. And that was it. I mean, I threw a little bit of everything. I threw the larger chatterbaits. I threw a rattle trap. I threw single swim baits, underspins. I threw a little bit of everything.
Wow. That's cool, man. And some of your fish, one thing I noticed was most people look at that, they see that pipe coming out under the water. They weren't where the pipe was coming out per se, right at it, like literally at it. They're coming out. You were finding them in a drain under the water, a ditch, if you will. There was grass in the area. And so it was out off the bank. So it was really not like some, you've seen pipes where you catch fish, the water's flowing out of a pipe and you throw right into the foaming white water. And that's right where you get your bites. And they're all right there. You found, maybe you caught one of your fish right like at the mouth of the pipe, but most of them were actually all just kind of in that area, but you had to kind of find where they were to hit the sweet spot. You know what I mean? So it wasn't as obvious as people think. Oh, how did I miss that? It was so obvious. It was still hidden and a little offshore a little bit.
It was, there was a tree, like a little piece of wood on one spot, that I, as soon as I felt that, on whatever bait I was throwing and popped it over, I was typically getting bit right afterwards. And then, with the chatterbait, if I was reeling it in the grass and popped it out of the grass, almost every time I'd pop it out of the grass, I was getting a thump after that. So, it was a spot. There was many spots within the spot, which is, in my experience, what you have to have when you win an event, especially if you're going to milk the same spot for as long as I did.
True. Do you think you think you would have won there if the wind was not blowing in on that spot too?
Absolutely not. Because when the wind changed direction late in the day, it started blowing the exact opposite direction and I had to leave. I wasn't getting bit at all. Went and tried some other things and came back, and they were actually, I don't know if it allowed the bait to roam a little bit more rather than getting pushed onto the shoreline, but they were busting on bait when I came back, but I couldn't get them to eat anything. So they were more focused on that natural forage at that point than they were anything else.
Man, it was just like the perfect storm then. Like it really was. Like everything just kind of came together perfectly. And Russ right here was all around the lake, just covering as much as he could to get up to his, what is it, upper 90s. Jordan scoping him out in the middle somewhere else, just roaming the lake looking. I mean, you just found the magical spot. I always say this, man, every tournament, that's what I look for in practice. We did that Bass After Dark not too long ago. It was about practice. Drew Gill, I was on with Drew Gill and Brian New. And it really was like, I said this. I said, look, every tournament when you watch it, when it's won, it's always something. It's a unicorn spot. It's some crazy. I mean, and that's kind of what you're looking for, and you found that particular spot. Now, the best of the rest, I would say, was kind of like a Russ here, who was just junk fishing his way around, covering as much water, still using his insight. He said he found this big fish on side scan, so it's not like he's just pounding the bank. He's doing other stuff along with it, but I mean, really, it still could never. It can never trump like a unicorn spot like that you found. So in practice, I'm always looking for that. That's what I want to find. So,
yep.
You definitely found it in this one, and congrats, man. I'm excited for you, and took home a lot of extra bonus, or contingency bonuses. So if you guys go on the website, make sure you guys, I'll actually pull that up just real quick before you leave so you guys can see it. I know you got to get you back. I know to, as long as you're good for another minute or two, you probably got to run, but
soon, but yeah, I'm good for a couple more minutes.
Okay. Share screen here. So if you guys go on our website, you can click on bonus and contingency programs, and you want a lot of these. So even Naqua ended up saying, you know what? He's got the Naqua. He used the Naqua. I know on stage, he used it all in practice. He used it all in the event. He had it on, the boat where maybe the GoPro wasn't running, whatever, but we've got it. So they were very cool to honor it, because it just made sense. And then even bonus bucks, dude. I don't know if what the fine print is, but I know you had a newer Toyota that qualifies for this.
Yep, and it's if I'm reading it correctly, it's 30 boats. You have to have at least 30 boats, and we
30.
have 40. So
yeah, so you're good.
We actually had a little bit more than that total.
Well, we definitely did when you add the other.
Yeah.
Oh, when you had the team and everything else.
Yeah, team and the joint event. We actually
should have found a partner, man. You might have been able to make.
You had Omnia.
I did have Omnia. Yep.
Yeah, you're going to get a $300 gift card. Well, it's 70 plus, so 30 to 70, so $200 gift card to Omnia,
which is still awesome. They've always got great sales going on. So
Marty got you on the cross. Yeah, they do. And if you're a pro member, which you are, because you won the bonus, you got special discounts on certain baits for pro. So
yep.
That's pretty awesome. The other thing, if you click under 4 anglers on the top here, you guys can upload your photo and video here.
I still need to do that with some of my others that I got from practice.
Send us your footage, man. We'll use it. We'll share it. We want to promote you guys. So it's super easy. Just trim it down. Use that GoPro Quick app. Trim it down and give us that one, 30 seconds, that minute. Like look at that clip I just shared, that bedfish. That's all I need. Cast, a catch, boom, done. And we'll do the rest and get that awesome footage out there, tag you on socials, put you in our highlight reel. So it's definitely a cool thing we got going on here with the KAS. You guys are all buying into it. But yeah, like you said, it was all total, it was a really good event it was like 90 something entries. Yeah, there was 40 in the individual division, but then you had another 32, a lot of which didn't enter the KS in that joint event for the North Texas. I don't know why. I mean, you think they'd have the best advantage, they're local, but I know it's a lot to add in the entry fee for that, plus the entry fee for, KAS and all that. But still, we want to figure out a way where, these guys are there, they're fishing our event, they're at the place, they all are part of our numbers, but love to see them in the KAS event as well. But it was a good group of folks for sure, and a lot of fun.
It was awesome. And the fellowship, everything else, that's why I love kayak fishing as much as I do. It's the fishing world in general, we're a lot of like-minded individuals for the most part. There's a lot of division right now. We won't get into that. But the kayak side, everybody, I've not run into anybody that's not willing to lend a hand. Adam Fillmore helped me out when I was on Fork one day.
Nice.
So, it's little things like that. Everybody's willing to lend a hand if necessary and build you up if you need it. It's just an awesome group.
Yeah. He helped me out as well by grabbing a kayak, the Smalley, which we announced.
That's what he was saying. I talked to him for about an hour after he had helped me, and he had mentioned that.
Yeah, that thing's been on a journey because I have it now.
It's gonna hit a bunch of states by the time it gets back to where it's supposed to be.
This is I just got this from Josh Goforth. Let's see. Paris Reelfest. So 40 were in the individual division, although we said we had more, but this is by the numbers. So look at this. AOI. Russ has fished 2 events, so that's why he's in the lead. Tim Isaacs fished 2. Anyone with 2 is obviously going to be ahead right now, but you're right there. We've only had 2. So the points, yeah, it's going to be a good finish. Look at this record set. We'll put this on the website or something. He's got some really cool. So this is largest 5-fish limit all time. So it's not really in order there, but it looks like you would be number 2, 102.75.
That's awesome.
So all the over 100s, I guess, right there.
Aaron's was crazy because it was shoal bass. Like that just blows my mind. But I guess shoal bass do get pretty long.
Yeah.
While you're looking at that, Drew, just I saw Mark Bradford had put a comment on there. Yes, Lacey caught some fish while we were down there out of Fork.
Nice.
She actually got a 5.5 pounder.
Good job, Lace.
It was awesome.
That is awesome. Yeah.
I think I was more excited for that fish than I was at any other point in the trip, except for when I caught that 22 during our tournament. So it was great. It's awesome. The fact that we share that together,
Dude,
can enjoy it together is amazing.
Yeah, that is awesome, man. The last thing, talking about the fellowship, I want to say, we don't have these up yet, I don't think, but I'll share this screen too. And I just want to say thanks to Abby Abandanza and Jody Queen, because they did a great job putting up. I mean, I was up there with them too, but those guys really just did an unbelievable job at the seminar they did here at the opening ceremonies, the Bash U Brunch.
There's a video there. If you want
there's a video here. Okay, yeah, we can play that. So see, that's kind of what it looked like the Bash those guys for sharing the juice for sure. They didn't have to do that, but they spilled a lot of good information, and we're gonna have some.
Are you saying they spilled the juice?
I guess I don't know. Is that? I mean, I guess they spilled it. They gave it. I don't know. Whatever it is, whatever the phrase is, they did it, and a lot of anglers definitely learned a lot from that one. Lots of questions, so it was good. Chatterbaits are not as simple as it used to be when there was just one chatterbait. The original. There's a lot of them, different rod, reel, line setups, everything. So they covered it all. We never really talked about the stealth blade, which is interesting that not many people throw that one anymore. It's they just don't.
I don't.
So,
I don't throw it. I happen to have it with me, and I just in my head I'm like, I need to throw something different. And I picked it up, and I think it was the first cast I tied it on. I caught one on it. And then I just kind of adjusted, my presentation with it and went from there.
It's actually a good one for colder water if you like downsizing a bit for colder water. But you can kind of get the same thing with the mini jack now. So it's like,
yeah. Well, I also like the clear blade. I was throwing an underspin originally, and I don't know if it was the blade that was throwing them off or what. The amount of pressure that these Texas lakes get is, I thought Ohio had pressure. So that's why I switched to it, because it was just in my head. I'm like, I need to do something a little bit different. It's also why I was throwing that bigger swim bait too, because a lot of guys won't do that in a tournament, so they're not going to see it as often.
Yeah, right. That makes sense. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up here. It was a good tournament, good turnout. For Bassmaster Classic, joined with it, bonus event, all that good stuff. So we were happy with it. We got some great fish, showed off that area and what it can produce, and then we'll let the guys at North Texas continue to go there and build that area up a little bit more, and then we'll be back in I don't know, who knows how many years. We'll definitely come back there at one point.
Maybe once Ralph Hall's filled.
Yeah, when Ralph Hall gets filled,
that'll be awesome.
Yeah, but not too long, because they've already. If they stocked the Boat Ark in 2019, I think they have already stocked some of those ponds they built in Raff Hall. They're going to flood over. There's already fish living in there that are big fish. They couldn't, like, bigger ones, not just the.
Yeah, we talked about fishing them.
So yeah, we did. We're like, hey, we should run down there and fish some of those ponds.
I thought the same thing, because I know that they put those share lunker offspring in there and let them grow, and I can't imagine what those ponds are like, because they probably don't get touched often.
Could you imagine catching the first ever Ralph Hall fish from the pond? Just, a casual 10-pounder that they just have in there.
Yeah, they already have in there. Yeah, that's true. It's a share lunker offspring. Or
never meant to be caught, and
You're right. Yeah, here we are.
Fish in a barrel. Well, it won't be long, because Boat Ark's already pumping out fish that are around 10 pounds. So that was 2019 when they stocked it with the fingerlings. I mean, it's 2025. So, I mean, literally by the time we are looking to go back again, it'll be ready to roll. And and they also add big ones in there too. Like I said,
Mhm.
that are in the pond, so it's not like we're all just relying on
Yeah.
just those fingerlings.
Currently,
So
currently the lake record for boat arc is 9.05 pounds. It was now get this. How long do you? I want to know how long do you think that 9-pounder was?
Maybe
21.
19 inches.
I'm gonna share the screen just so
21.
you don't think I'm messing with you. This is the Texas State,
Yeah.
19.5 inches.
Wow.
That's one of the other reasons I didn't fish there. I knew you can go and catch a ton of fish there, catch some big ones, but you're not going to catch the 23s,
Right.
the big ones that you need to win.
You
And he
need
caught
those.
on a jig, I'm sure on some wood, but like that just goes
There's
to show
bigger
you, man.
ones that have been caught than that people haven't turned in though. I know that.
This is just the one that has been certified. So like I'm sure there's been tons because
There have.
I mean I probably wouldn't submit it to them.
You go,
And that was a year ago too. So
Yeah.
those
Right.
fish grow like 2 pounds a year, I feel like.
yeah. Oh yeah. They and that, to your point though, I didn't really talk about that a lot on the live stream, but that was a strategy I was thinking too. Like, could enough fit 19, 20 inches out of boat arc, which is probably the size those original stocking fish are, year class size they are now. They're, like you said, there's not 23s and 24s yet out of that original class. Some of those random big ones they put in there, sure, but like the majority of the fish are going to be that class. So could that beat and trump another lake that you might get a 23, 22, 24 incher? And I thought you guys made the right call. Maybe hold off on boat arc because it couldn't compete yet, even though they would be fatter, like big and fat and way more. So
I thought about hitting Coffee Mill, but the amount of wind that lake got, and as dirty as it got, I couldn't spend enough time there to feel confident in it. But there's been more sharelunkers pulled out of there than any of the lakes around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Coffee Mill, see their lake record. 6.5 pounds, 19 inches. So that's clearly not accurate. Like there's definitely
There's no
bigger
way.
fish in there.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm
No
pretty
way.
sure JT caught one bigger in length.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, for sure.
And I thought maybe I'm looking at the wrong, maybe it's Mill Creek Lake or something like that. That's
No,
different. But there's one that had like a crazy number of sharelunkers that had come out of it.
well, here's Crockett. Let's see what they have. Wow.
26 and a half.
That's part of the reason why I focused on it as well.
Jeez,
Chatterbait.
dude.
I mean, it just goes to show
Look what
you
he
this
caught it on.
chatterbait. Yeah, it's full circle. It brings it full circle here.
That was like the year they came out, wasn't it?
Yeah. That
It
fish
also
is
brings
probably
it-
like, I've never seen something so amazing. I'm going to eat that.
Yeah, right. It brings us a little bit full circle too with the fact that, smaller lakes can certainly still play, you know what I mean? And it just the format for the KS just letting you guys choose these. I mean, it's pretty cool to see a big fish come out of that small lake and win in a tournament. I mean, obviously you didn't catch one that big, but that helped clue you in, and it brings us full circle. I guess what I was saying to the original question was, how in the world did you narrow it down to like those lakes? You did some research. Maybe you saw this page, maybe you didn't, but you did enough research to know there are some quality fish in this lake. And with the KS format, when you got so many lakes in play and rivers and creeks, you got to be able to narrow it down somehow before you get there.
Yeah.
And it's no different than, I always stress this, it's no different than the Kissimmee chain or the Harris chain or Lake Gunnersville or whatever big body of water it is. You always have to narrow it down to some degree before you get there based on your internet research. And you guys did that. And a lot of people did that very well, all ended up on that same lake. And you're just the one that caught them the best and found that magical spot, man. So congrats. Well
Thank
done.
you.
We'll let you get back to it. We'll play this video. We'll end on that. We'll see you at South Boston, Virginia. If you guys can all stay, please, let's all stay at that Staunton River State Park. It's our official campground partner. There's cabins, there's campsites. It's just a bigger party. It's more fun when we're all there. If you need a part, someone's got it because we're all there. If you need a tip, someone probably has one because we're all there hanging around the campfire. So let's all stay there. It's centrally located to a lot of the waters. No reason not to join the party. And like Adam said, it's all about the fellowship anyway. So looking forward to a great rest of the season, guys. And we'll let Adam go, and then Jake will play that video and do our last minute comments here. Thanks,
guys.
Adam. Yeah, man. See you
Take
later.
care.
So I just want to point out that Rob Jolly could have had the Fannin Lake record if he would have submitted it.
Oh,
because he caught an 18.5. And the record is only
See,
17.
I just feel like the smaller lakes, no one's submitting. Like no one cares.
Right.
No
Well, I mean,
one's
that's what it
submitting.
is. But
But on
did you see the
bigger
one
lakes, they care
from
more.
Bonham was very impressive.
I mean,
I don't know if you
Bonham's
know.
a bigger lake, so I can see why
Look at
people at least submit.
26 inches.
Mm-hmm.
So
Is that
a lot of good lakes in play, man.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them. I don't think you could have
A lot
really
of good
gone
lakes.
wrong. It's just the one was just firing in the moment, you know?
Yeah. I think that's about it. We'll have fun at South Boston, and that one's going to be interesting because I think next week, Jake, we may have to do it at a different time or may have to pre-record, but we're going to try to have our preview video for the Great Midwestivus, because that is the one we still haven't previewed, that one in Ohio. And Chris Shute is going to join us from the city over there, Springfield, and he can't do it at this time exactly. Or I may not be able to. I can't remember. Somebody had a conflict. So we might pre-record it and do a Great Midwestivus preview show. And then the next one after that will probably be more of a closer preview for South Boston. Like I said, we're going to do a $10,000 GoPro guarantee. If we can get 150 there, why not? Let's do it. Let's keep sharing the joy of this series and the fun we're all having. Be able to fish our own styles and celebrate everyone's diversities, no matter what style you have to catch fish. It's more fun when we see different footage of different, fish being caught different ways anyway. So we welcome it. We welcome you guys. Let's closing comments for you on Texas trip?
I'm just glad to be home. It was pretty mentally draining for me. So
yeah,
for a lot of reasons. But
oh man, it's rough. That's the longest trip of the year for us. Next year,
by far.
I'm not going to do anything with the classic like that again. It's not that it doesn't work. It's just we have too much going on to you know what I mean, and so do other people. So it's hard for them to think about another event on top of maybe a Bassmaster Kayak Championship or going to the classic. It's a lot. So
yeah, well, maybe one day I'll figure out Texas. I feel like it is just like my white whale. Everyone seems to do well there but me. So
yeah, well,
I'm a live scope master now. I've caught my first jig head minnow fish. It's just opening the door. I'll never be the same person. So
yep, it's all just
it's over.
It's over now. It's all just, I'm not gonna say downhill, but it could be uphill. If you end up being good at it, but you've cracked it open and now you're just gonna start going down that wormhole and probably do really good, catch fish. I mean, you can see them, so it can help in some ways for sure, but it's not as easy as yeah. Is that right? They just jump in the boat. All right.
I do have a funny story.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a funny story. When we were launching the morning of that tournament on Lake Fort, we were launching and there was me, a Hobie, and Ryan. As we were launching, like a 7-inch bass jumped into the Hobie right next to me, literally out of the water into the Hobie. Before lines in, before anything, it was just the bass jumped into the boat. And I was like, you know what? That's a good omen. That's going to start the day great. And in turn, it was actually an awful omen. So, because we all did really bad in that spot.
Jeez.
So
yeah, you don't want to catch one on the first cast, and you definitely don't want them jumping in the boat. So apparently, I'm gonna spill my coffee. All right, well, I'll see you guys. We'll end this live stream after we play this video. But yeah, if you guys want to see some of your drone shots here, we'll upload this all to YouTube as well. And we'll see you at the South Boston Bassathon is next, and of course next week with that preview. So let's put it up the video. Here we go. I have no idea. I just edited this, so we'll see if it's clean. Here you guys.
Sweet like wine, got honey on her tongue. One hand on a bottle, she got one hand on a gun. She squeezed that trigger, you as good as done. I should be running from you, darling, now the kingdom come. Cause my mother told me as a child, boy, don't play around with fire, cause you might just end up getting burned. And I know the wicked just gonna do me worse. So if they all no good, I'll just be bad with you. Cause my mother told me as a child, boy, don't play around with fire, cause you might just end up getting burned. And I know the wicked never rest, so I always try my best. But there's some lessons hard for me to learn, like good boys don't play with bad girls. Good boys stay away from them bad girls, them bad girls. The good ones just can't get me high, so I be falling on my lap for one of these bad girls. You bad girl, but you do me so good. Cause my mother told me as a child, boy, don't play around with fire, cause you might just end up getting burned. And I know the wicked never rest, so I always try my best. But there's some lessons hard for me to learn, like good boys don't play with bad girls. Good boys stay away from them bad girls, them bad girls. The good ones just can't get me high, so I be falling on my lap for one of these bad girls. You bad girl, but you do me so good. I'm giving up on settling down, getting out of the small town. Hang a sign, this heart is closed. Time to hit the open road. I'm giving up on settling down. I've been left at the altar, been left at the bar. Gave all I got to love, all I got was a broken heart. But I got my eyes on a new horizon, and I've learned my lesson. I'm giving up on settling down, getting out of this small town. Hang a sign, this heart is closed. I'm to hit the open road. I'm giving up on settling down. I'm married to the mountains, the rivers and the roads. They take me as I am, they make me feel at home. But I got my mindset, my four-wheel drive tech that ain't looking back anymore. I'm giving up on settling down, getting out of this small town.
Let's go!
This heart is closed. I'ma hit the open road. I'm giving up on settling down.
Woo!
Come on.
Holy cow, it's huge. Pull it up real quick. Nice.
How big is it? There you go, man. 20 3/4. How long was your drive here? All the way from? Nice. Yeah. Dedication right there.
Lived at the bar, gave all I got.
Right out here for the KAS Adventure Series tournament in Paris, Texas. Just got this big old pre-spawn female, 21 incher. There we go. More like that.
Shit. May not get big fish, but 20 and a half. Spawned out female.
Cold coffee, my old boots are by the door. Nobody's calling, but I don't mind it anymore. 'Cause I've had enough of the rat race, the city life, the social grace. Burnt out on confidence, so tired of keeping score. Gonna find somewhere to slow it down, buy a little place way out of town. Gonna take my time, 'cause it's all mine. Trade my pride for a quiet life. Maybe then my time will come around, way out of town. Down in the hills off old Topanga Road, there's a place I go to ease a weary soul. I could hide away above the sea, smoke my stuff, talk to the trees, get myself a dog and build a heart of gold. Gonna find somewhere to slow it down, buy a little place way out of town. Gonna take my time, 'cause it's all mine. Trade my pride for a quiet life. Maybe then my time will come around, way out of town. find somewhere to slow it down. By a little place way out of town. Gonna take my time, 'cause it's all mine. Trade my pride for a quiet life. Maybe then my time will come around. Maybe then my time will come around. Way out of town.
That's what I'm talking about. Get you some meat, baby.
Still want